Hello again and welcome to my channel. I'm Fraser from Metalworking in France. A little job on today. A gentleman has asked me to reduce the diameter of this part here, just this main part. He wants me to reduce it by approximately 5/1000 of an inch. The guy is an English guy and he works on old English motorbikes or British motorbikes. So of course everything he does is all imperial sizes. So anyway, he's asked me to reduce this by 5/1000 of an inch, which is a little over 0.1 of a millimetre or 0.01 of a millimetre. Quite a small amount in actual fact, but that shouldn't be too big a problem. That's one little part to the job, and then another part is basically he wants me to put this diameter thread onto this thing. So again, I've got to reduce the diameter slightly to get it down to there, and then I'll have to screw cut this on the lathe because it's quite a fine thread. As we go on, I'll tell you what size the thread is and how deep I'm going in. So watch me as we do these couple of little jobs on the lathe. As you can see, what I've done here, I've put the tailstock centre in the lathe. So I'm just going to, it's a bit difficult to do this without getting my hands in the way. Push this into the centre and then I'll just nip the chuck up and that should be okay. So I'll just make sure that I just push that a little bit with the centre, and that should be quite nicely centralised now, so that I can machine this. So okay, let's get on with this job. As you can see, I've put some colour onto this just so that I can see when I make contact with it. So I just put a little bit of indelible ink on it from a felt tip pen, so that when I wind the cross slide with the tool on it into the job itself, we can see any minute now I should make contact with it, just so that I know. As I say, the size is not really important, it's just that it needs about 5 thou off it. So there we are, we've just got to touch on that now. So I'll now take 5 thou off, and that in theory should be the job done. I'll just machine this down. There you can see I'm just taking a very, very fine cut. It's just enough to clean it up. I will measure it afterwards just to see what size it is, but the actual diameter itself is not that important. It's a little bit tight at the moment for what it's needed, so I'm just taking enough off just so that it's got a bit of clearance, so that it'll slide into the workpiece that it's got, or whatever it's going on to. Something to do with an old British motorbike. There we are. That should be fine. I'll just measure that up. With the micrometer, and we'll see what size that's reading. It's reading 1.75 or 1.075, sorry. So yeah, that's not too bad. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to go into, but the gentleman told me just 5 mil. 5 thou, sorry. Right, that should be that job done now. Again, I've used a very similar setup. I've centered this up with a clock gauge, so it's running nice and true. So I've put some colour on there again, just so that I can see it. Turn the lathe on, there'll be a bit more noise now, so hopefully you can still hear me when I'm talking. There you go, there's my colour. I'm going to turn this down to 20mm diameter. I know this guy works with imperial sizes most of the time. This is for one of his I think it's a tool of some sort, either a motorcycle jack, lifting device or whatever it might be. But this size is actually metric. So I'm going to take this down to 20mm diameter and then put a thread on it at 1.5mm pitch on the thread. So we'll see how this bit actually turns out. Shouldn't be too bad. I'll just turn a little bit. I only turn this I don't want to take too much off because it's not particularly secure in the chuck itself. So we'll just machine this down gradually, just take a little bit at a time until we take it down to 20mm diameter.
Anyway, I've speeded this up a little just so that you don't get too bored watching it. Just taking this down to size. It's running, obviously it's running quite a lot slower than this really.
Again, we're using the micrometer to get this size correct. So I'm nearly down to 20mm. Got about half a mil to come off. Or no, yeah, about half a mil. That's not too bad. Right, I'm just going to put an undercut onto this, just so that when I'm cutting the thread on it, I don't have to worry too much about getting down to the bottom end of the thread. Could be a little bit tricky coming up into a straight face like that. So I'll just put the parting off tool in. So I'll go in about 1.5 mil. There's plenty of meat on this thing. There's no hole in the middle, so it should be okay as far as strength is concerned. I don't think it's taking a lot of weight anyway. It's more of a plug than anything else. So that should do fine. As you can see, I've put some colour on this again just so that we can see where the thread is going. Can keep an eye on it, make sure everything's cutting nicely. So that's not too bad actually. It's going to cut out quite well, I think. It's quite good. Put another cut on now. Luckily, because it's only 1.5 pitch, it hasn't got to go in very far either. It's well, it's not even 1.5 for the depth. So we're getting there quite nice. It's cutting quite well actually. It's not leaving a bad finish. So we'll see how this goes. Looks as if it's going to be quite easy to do.
So here you can see I've actually speeded this up quite considerably because obviously you can't screw cut a piece of steel as quickly as this really, not to keep it accurate, because obviously coming down onto a shoulder as I'm doing, even though I've got an undercut on it, I've still got to be very careful not to let the tool run into the face of the shoulder. So yeah, it's cutting quite nicely. It's a bit quicker, as I say, than you would normally expect it to be going.
Well, there we are. Not a bad little job in the end. That one I've turned down, as I say, like I said to you, this diameter, I've turned it right down to, well, by about 5,000 an inch, a little over 1.25 millimetre. Sorry, 0.125 of a millimetre. So that one's done, and then I've had this little thing that I've made. I just turned the outside diameter down to 20 mil. And then I've screw cut this thread on here, this 1.5 millimetre pitch thread. So that's exactly the same thread. gentleman can now screw that. It's some sort of adapter, I think, for a machine of his. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that video. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to press like and to ding the little bell so that you get notified of any future videos that I may put on. So it's very important to me if you please support me as much as possible. Okay, see you in the next video. In the meantime, I'll bid you farewell. Goodbye.